Hi Lisa, you've asked a number of questions which were how do I add a page, how do you add a different shade of background colour like the up and coming events section that I added, and how do you add a full width picture to a page. Basically, let's look at the back end. So this is the home page I'm looking at here, as you can see by the description. And you fiddle with this yourself a little bit, and as you can see, when you look at it, each section is broken down into these blocks, and each block can be manipulated to look exactly how you want. So for instance, let's start by adding an image. That's probably the easiest thing. So the first thing you do is you hit the little plus button because you want to add another block like this here onto the page before you do anything. You don't want to add it as a block by hitting the plus here as an extra thing, because this will add it to this existing block, and whatever attributes you've given to this block will also apply to the picture. So for instance, if you want it full width, then that won't work because I know this block here is not full width. It's if I scroll down, it's only from here to here. So by putting the image underneath as part of this, it will make the image the same width from here to here. So if you want it full width, what you need is a new block. So there's a couple of ways of doing that, but probably the easiest if you just hit the little plus here, and it'll come a bunch of different types of elements that you can add. Now you want a single image, which is here, and you can see you can hit the little plus button to add an image. I'll just pick this one here. Over here you want to type in a description, so I'll just type in these two fields here, which are the important ones for SEO purposes. You might say Lisa with her hand outstretched, or Lisa doing a presentation, or something of that nature, but I'll just do a quick and dirty single line of text. And then underneath here it says how big do you want the image. Well, you want it full size, which is one of the options you can see here. You've got thumbnail, medium, large, full. So you've got to manually type that in there. Otherwise you end up with a little small image. And as I scroll down, you've got image alignment left. Well, you really want that center aligned. And that's it. So if I hit save changes, what it'll do is it'll add it to the bottom of the page. Now if I save this, this will take a minute to save, and then if I go back to the home page and I refresh that and scroll down, we should have at the very bottom of the page a full width image of you. Now if you wanted to change this image so that it has a different size, you've got two options. This is full width because it goes obviously for the full width of the page. The other one, which is this narrower width, which is obviously useful for certain things, for instance text, is called in grid. So I go back and then scroll down to the image that I've added, which, as I said, always elements go to the very bottom, but you can move them by just going over and just grabbing and dragging and placing them where you want. So you can move things around on the page too. Anyway, I'll click in the little arrow here, and you can see here that the settings, it says full width. Now if I change that to in grid and then save it, so that's me clicking this little edit this row, and because this row contains the image, everything inside will be affected by the change that you make. So that's now in grid. If I go back here and refresh, you'll see that image will now become narrower. By default, everything on the page will have this grey background colour. If you want to have a varying colour, for instance here I've got the grey background colour, but here we've got the white background colour, the way that's been achieved is by making this section, the background of it, white. I'll just show you that. So for instance this title here, if we look at the title on the page, you can see behind it is white. And again, this is done by clicking. You can see this is a single row, got 32 pixels of space above and below so that this title's not too squashed in. And if we click this here, you will see, if I click design options, you've got a bunch of options here, and over here is the different colours. And if you can see here, colour option, in the background colour here, which looks like a code, but don't worry about that, you can just click the colour down here and the code's automatically filled in, and you can see that the background is set as white. So if I decided to change that to a different colour, just for an illustration, let's say we want to make it red, and I save that, you can see you get a little red circle there to show that that's what you've done. Hit update, and if we then go back to the home page and I refresh that, you can see you've now got a red background. Not particularly attractive in this particular instance because the colours we tend to use are the white and the beige kind of colour, so I'll reset that back to white again just by going in, design options, background colour, clicking the white, saving that, and then updating the page. And it's back to being white again. The other thing you asked about was adding pages. The best way I've found of doing the addition of pages, if you want to do it nice and quickly, is by finding a page that's similar to the one that you want to add and then copying it. So for instance, let's go in here and we've got let's see, this about page here. So let's say for instance we wanted to have a page that kind of looks like this about page here. The first thing you do is you click this edit page, hit the right mouse button so this menu comes up. If you don't have a Mac, it might have slightly different options. Open link in new tab, and you'll see a new tab opens, and you can see this is the about page that we're looking at. Now if we wanted to make a new page based on this, because the content's kind of similar, then you've got copy to a new draft over here. So what you do is just click that, and it will then go away, generate a page which is a copy of that particular page, and you've created a new page. So in this new page, let's change the title to new page, and once you're happy with it, made all the changes that you want, you can click publish. But this new page is not accessible because none of your menus work. So if we go to the menus, there's no way to actually get to that page. So let's say for instance you want it to appear under this about, then what you have to do is the second thing, just add it to the menu to make that page visible. Okay, so we've got this page called new page, and the next thing we want to do is we want to add the menu option. So under appearance you've got menu, so we click that. You can see here main menu, top navigation, and if we look home, about, speaking courses, we have a look at yours, home, about, speaking courses. So that's this top menu here that we're editing, because you can have more than one menu. So what we want to do is under pages here, you can see the very top entry, new page. So if we say add to menu, it'll add that to the very bottom. If I scroll down, and there it is. And what you can do is you can drag this to wherever you want it to appear. So for instance, let's say we want it to appear under About. We can drag it there, and then we save the menu, which it'll then go away and do. If we then refresh your page, and I go there, you can see you've now got a menu option which takes you to your new page, which is obviously a copy of the About page, so not particularly exciting or anything to see there, but it has allowed you to add that new page. But before you get too excited and start adding pages all over the place, I need to explain you've got two different types of pages on your website, which is a WordPress thing. You've got these pages here which generally show standard content that doesn't really change too much, you know, your background and things of that nature. And you've got your blog, which are pages which are more topical kind of things. You know, 10 tips for doing this, or what I think of things happening in the industry last month, and you know, topical kind of stuff. As you see, you've got tons of that here. You've got 7 pages worth. For those, you don't need to add things in the same way. They are not pages, they are actually posts. So if it's a topical thing to go inside your blog, you don't need to worry about any of the stuff I just described. All you would do is just go into all posts, and then you can find a post in the same way as I've just described. It's most similar. So let's say this one here, why high performers embrace failure. And what you can do is, a different way of copying it is just hitting this clone button, and what that will do is create a draft, and you can see it appears right at the top with the word draft after it. You can then click it, which goes into edit mode, and we can call that, for instance, new post for your blog. We publish it just as we did with the page. We just pretend that we've added the content that we want to add. And if we then look on the blog and refresh it, you can see here 3rd of April, new post, and it's just added it to the top of the page. So that's slightly different for adding a post than it is a post under your blog area, that is, as opposed to adding a page, which is all these other elements over here. So depending on what you're trying to do, the process is slightly different, so you need to remember that too. Not get one mixed up with the other and add pages when you really mean to add posts to your blog. And just going back to the post here, the edit post page, the thing that's most obvious, so that you can tell whether you're editing a post or a page, is that on here you haven't got any of the blocks and fancy features. You basically just type text in, add images in a very basic way, and the formatting is done for you. So this is another reason where you can tell the difference between pages and posts. Pages can be far more highly formatted. So again, you might use that difference to decide which you prefer, a post or a page. And that's it. Hopefully that's useful, and any other questions, drop me an email. Thanks, Lisa. Bye.